Ron Heston here. I'm going to read to you the next 3 weeks talks that were given by Ernest Holmes. This one is from This Thing Called Life, which he delivered on Sunday, November 20th, 1949. If you love dogs and children, as I know you must, you have studied their reactions to those around them and realize how important a little praise can be. Perhaps some may say this is certainly true of children. They do love to be loved and praised. They love to feel that they're important in the family life. But dogs also have a language of their own. When you talk to them and tell them how wonderful they are and look deep into their eyes, their tails wag, and they kind of smile back at you as they lick your hand. Dogs and children are not far apart, after all. Dogs and children know if you inwardly disapprove of them, whether or not you say anything, they reach out with a feeling toward you, and if that feeling is rebuffed, they're unhappy. But we all are children, just children of a larger growth and a little more experience. Just children wanting to be loved, wanting to sing our own song and dance our little dance. We like to strut our stuff and play the game of life with joy. Of course, we want to be adult. We don't want to be too foolish, but there's such a thing as the game of life, and there must be a way to play it. So, when we go to bed at night, we can't carry too much of the hurt of the day into a restless sleep. So, when we wake up in the morning, we shall anticipate something that promises to be wonderful and exhilarating. You see, this is the way we're made, and God never makes mistakes. There was such a thing as a game of life. There's nothing wrong with this thing called life. For whatever seems to be wrong with it, it is the way we are living and not life itself. If we're not getting the most out of life, it must be because we're not putting the most in it. This week we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving Day, but Thanksgiving is more than a day to serve turkey and dressing and to eat brown gravy on mashed potatoes. It really means that we should be grateful for life. That we should praise the giver of all the good, and that we should gratefully acknowledge the priceless heritage of a free and noble people. But how much time do you spend affirming the good things in life and recognizing that which is best in ourselves and others? In the exhilaration of his spirit, the psalmist said, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name." Mr. Luther Burbank told me that her husband used to talk to his plants and tell them exactly what he planted them to do. A friend of mine who trained the famous dog Strongheart talks to animals just as surely as you and I talk with each other. And so surely do they respond. There's a principle here. If plants and animals respond to praise, wouldn't everything else? We want to find something in people and situations that will respond to us with joy and vitality. Suppose it were all the time and our lack of acknowledgement merely obscures it. We would have to start with the simple proposition that there is something good at the center of everything. Let me say that again. There's something good at the center of everything. In every situation, our starting point is to believe this, not as a theory or an idle dream, but as something to be recognized and entered into in the here and now. Recently I read of an experiment two ladies made with a couple of rose bushes. They praised the one and gave it all kinds of care and extra attention, specializing on it alone. And in a few months, the rose bush was daily blessed, responded with lavish blossoming, which far exceeded the other one. Now suppose we apply this principle to everything we're doing, to people, to situations, to our daily living. Take our central thought, that divine presence is in everywhere, everything, and responds to us through everything. It is really a wonderful thing to thank God every meal for the blessing of the food. It is wonderful to bless each other for friendships. It will perform a miracle in your life if you consciously bless everyone in every situation you find yourself in. Take time to say, I bless every member of my family. I bless my husband. I bless my wife. I praise my children. I bless everything that they are doing. Blessing the gifts you make to people. Blessing the friends you have. And above anything else, everything else, don't forget to pray the prayer of blessing for this great and wonderful country of ours. Bless our leaders. Pray for everyone in public responsibility. If you're in a business, bless your business. Bless the customers that come in. Bless the goods that go out. Bless everyone working with or around you. And don't forget to bless your own effort. That it should prosper and multiply and increase and return to you 100-fold. You are proceeding on the proposition that there is a divine presence in everything and in everyone, and a divine law of good running through everything. Your recognition of this law, your acceptance of it, your prayer of affirmation about it, causes this presence to respond to you in a new way. It rises to meet your expectation, your faith, your conviction, and your acceptance. In doing this, don't pay too much attention to the negative situations. In other words, try to bring a positive affirmation to bear on everything that is negative. You will soon find that negative things will tend to disappear, and the positive will take their place. They will have a very interesting effect on you personally. You will find a new lightness coming into your step, a new sense of joy into your mind, and a deep, growing, and abiding conviction that God really is in His heaven, and that His heaven is wherever you happen to be. And here's one more thought I'd like to add. And I would love to know some of the experiences that I am certain will follow it if you do this. Try to give thanks for those things which you do not see. Somewhere in the Bible it said, "Blessed are they who are not having seen, still believe." In other words, when Jesus blessed the loaves and the fishes, he was blessing the increase, which he knew God would provide. And his faith and expectancy out of the law and good in such a way that there was an immediate manifestation of more. Now Jesus hadn't seen all the loaves and fishes that were needed to feed the multitude, but he blessed the invisible substance. He gave thanks for this increase. And this you must do also, for God never lets anyone down. Particularly, try to bless yourself. Bless your hopes, your aims, your aspirations. Bless the faith that is in you, and it will grow. It will bloom like a rose bush. Bless the unused talents that you possess. And new ways of doing things will come into your experience. There's no way that God cannot work for us other than by working through us. And if we reject the gift of life, if we refuse to receive it, how can he ever hope to hold it in our hands? Be sure that you don't make a drudgery of this. Let it be a song of praise, an joy of blessing, a gladness in giving, just as spontaneous as was the faith of the little boy who brought those few loaves and fishes and placed them in the loving hands of the Master. Isn't it wonderful that out of all that vast throng of people who needed to be fed, and the doctors of law who stood around, and those who thought they knew all the answers, and even his immediate disciples, the only person in that great congregation who really entered into the spirit of what Jesus was doing was the little boy. Yes, you see, Jesus and the little boy were the only two people in that gathering who didn't know what couldn't be done. And Jesus apparently wanted the cooperation of someone who did know that it could be done, just as he knew. I love to think of that little boy, his eyes bright with enthusiasm, his little feet digging their toes into the dirt, and the hand of expectancy outreached, willing and glad to surrender his morsel without the slightest question in his mind about the increase. Let's you and I see if we cannot become as little children. It is natural for us to believe. It's natural for us to dance with joy and enter into the rhythm of life with happiness. And it's natural for us to expect the miracle of love to perform its act of kindness. Now we are either talking about the greatest thing in life, or else we're following forlorn hope, which could only lead to despair. We make certain that we are talking about the greatest thing in life. There is an inner presence that responds to us. There is a law of good that works for us. There is a power of right that can rearrange all of our circumstances if we can believe. Suppose this week we try to discard our negative approaches to people and circumstances. And for every condemnation, let us find something to praise for. Every doubt, let's find a faith. For every fear, let's have a new hope. let's see if we can't sing our song of praise and thanksgiving. I know if we practice this for the next few days, a new flavor will come in to our living, and we will gather around that festive board. We too shall be able to say with the psalmist, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name." Thank you, and next week I'll read another talk by